chili cheese fries?
Yep. So here we are at the Tommy's hamburger place in the drive-thru in our Jeep, which seems totally appropriate, right?
Thank you, it is old school.
One of our many fans behind us also in the drive-thru here at Tommy's.
Feeling pretty normal.
We're not too high for that, right? Clearing something to beat? Oh yeah. We'll spare you guys the mundane wait in traffic here. All right, our turn in line. Should I ask everybody what they want?
Hi, can I get a California Classic and chili cheese fries?
With the California Classic, with cheese or no cheese?
With cheese?
With cheese, the cheeseburger? Okay.
And then can I get a cheeseburger, no chili, and regular fries, no chili?
Okay. Was the cheeseburger with regular fries?
Yeah, so the first one is a California Classic and chili cheese fries.
Okay.
And then the other one is just a regular cheeseburger and regular fries.
No chili on the cheeseburger?
No chili on the cheeseburger.
No chili on the cheeseburger, regular fries. Two drinks?
No drinks, thanks.
No drinks? That'll be all?
Yep.
Okay, total 17.36.
Okay.
Thank you.
Normally I would have gotten everybody something, but you know, we don't have that many, we can't carry that many hamburgers.
Well, also you guys saw how hard it was to get just 2 orders, right?
All right.
Come on, CTS.
There's no cup holders, so we didn't bother with drinks.
Oops.
All right, let's get out of here. There you go. Take more exciting footage of the Tommy's Hamburger drive-thru, brought to you by Tom and Elana. Wow, looks like a comfortable ride.
It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'm down with the Jeep. I like the Jeep. So we got a new car.
New, brand new.
Brand new. It is our newest car ever. It's also our oldest car ever. At the same time. It's crazy how things can occupy multiple spaces at once. Anyway, this is a 1942 Ford GPW. You might know it best as a World War II Jeep or a flat fender.
These are the flat fenders.
They're so flat. How did it get its name? Nobody knows.
Yeah, I'll back up, give everybody the whole picture of it.
So this is our newest acquisition. We've been looking for a long time. Actually, to be more specific, Tom has been looking for a long time.
I'm the idea man.
Yeah. I make the money and he spends it.
So I wanted a Jeep for a long time, and turns out they're pretty hard to find. That was very graceful.
Oh yeah.
I captured all of it.
Okay, good. That's what I like to do.
The safety police haven't fitted
cool.
doors to these yet.
Yeah, but we do have a nice little strap here.
Oh yeah.
Not falling out. Just in case any of you are not familiar with American military vehicle history, the Ford Jeep, Willys Jeep, the Jeep in general, basically best vehicle America's ever made.
Enzo Ferrari that said it was America's best sports car?
I mean, did you not see that sweet entry? That was pretty slick.
Yeah, I'd like to see a Ferrari do that.
Yeah, exactly. So super quick Jeep history, and all of the history buffs out there can tell me all the ways I got this wrong. But basically, it's 1940, America's gonna enter the war. They need a vehicle that is not a horse. They need a small, off-road capable vehicle that a couple of guys can pick up and move and kind of sneak under the radar in. Horses, no go. So they put out like a government ask, like, hey, give us proposals. And this company named Bantam, American Bantam, also American Austin, if you're a real nerd, they give this proposal for a little off-roady four-wheel drive vehicle. And the government's like, yeah, we like this. Only we don't think you can actually make enough of them. So we're also going to give some time to these two other companies, Willys Overland and this one you might have heard of called Ford. See if they can make a prototype that's as good as this. So Willys and Ford kind of had a little bit of an edge on Bantam because they already got to see what worked in the Bantam and then what the government didn't like about the Bantam. It was a little heavy and they didn't like the engine. So
anyway, Bantam was able to build a little prototype.
Oh yeah,
before
Bantam
testing.
built this prototype it's like some insanely short period of time.
Yeah, like
days or
75. I think 75 days, and they submitted it to the Army for testing.
Yeah, and it did really well, but it was like a little bit heavier than the government wanted, and it didn't have a great engine. So anyway, Willys built basically what you see here as a prototype, and they liked the engine a lot better, and they were like, but we really need a lot of these, so we're gonna have both Willys and Ford build them. So this is the Ford version. They're basically exactly the same, except that Ford put Fs on as many parts as they possibly could because they wanted everyone to know that Ford had built the vehicle that won the war. That's it. That's the full extent of my history knowledge. And I'm going to trade with Tom now so that he can tell you about this exact Jeep.
All right. Well, that was certainly a mouthful, wasn't it?
Do you feel like you learned something?
There's likely a lot of Jeep experts out in the world. We're going to criticize our little introduction of Jeep history, but it's the best a couple of hacks can do on short notice.
Look, man, the point is there were three companies, and in the end, they all ended up building something because we really, really needed it.
Yeah, and in total, they made Ford and Willys. By the way, Willys, let's talk about the pronunciation. I've always known it as a Willys Jeep, but apparently his pronunciation, the actual guy, is Willys. So I apologize to everybody who also thought it was Willys. It's incorrect. It's a Willys. In our case, I avoided all of that nonsense, and this is a Ford, which I know how to pronounce.
Yeah, no problem pronouncing Ford. A Fjord.
We can give you a little tour of the finer details of it. It's got a very nice 3-spoke high-performance steering wheel. Eyeglass holder, which also does have World War II sunglasses in it, which is an important detail.
You know, I think that perhaps we should back up a little bit and talk about how this particular Jeep came into our being. And I'm going to start by pointing out this man here who he shops for vehicles a lot.
Well, I like cars, and you know it's a problem when you like cars because you want to buy more of them.
Yeah. So it's pretty common for him to call me into the office and be like, look at this Jensen Interceptor, we should buy this. And I'll be like, oh yeah, are we gonna buy it? And he'll be like, nah, we're not.
Okay, my history with Jeeps starts like this. When a long time ago when I was a kid, I bought a Willys Jeep in a bunch of boxes out of the recycler newspaper.
It was only like 10 years ago.
It was a lot more than that, for $800. And I brought all the pieces home and assembled it and made a running Jeep out of it. And then life goes on and I sold that Jeep, but I always wanted another one. And so fast forward to the year 2021.
That's now.
And find a much nicer Jeep. I mean, my old Jeep was never this nice.
Yeah, this one didn't even come in baskets. But once again, Tom's skipping ahead to the good stuff. Because first, again, he calls me in a lot to look at cars that he has no intention of buying. He just wants to talk about them for maybe a week and then move on. So when he first started talking again about getting a Jeep, I was like, yeah, sure, get a Jeep. Whatever, I'm cool. We got plenty of space. And so he called me in for one Jeep, and it was really expensive, and it wasn't that nice. It was pretty beat up, and it was like bright yellow. But he's like, well, I mean, I think it's a pretty good Jeep underneath. And then he didn't bid on it. Somebody else did. Someone bought it for like this super high price, and he was sad for like a week.
I was astonished at how much these things go for, because last time I bought a Jeep, you could pick which one you wanted. They were all $800 to $4,000. Yeah,
they're more than that now. So a couple of times this happens. He finds one, calls me in to look at it. I say, are you gonna buy it? He's like, nah, I don't want this one. Then somebody else buys it, and then he's sad. And we were pretty fussy about what Jeep we wanted to. Like, Jeeps are kind of like race cars in a way, in that you don't actually want the nicest Jeep in existence, right? Like, you don't want a race car that someone built and never raced, right? Like, that's lame. And you don't want a Jeep that has sat in a wooden box ever since the government, put it together in the 1940s. Maybe you want that. I don't want that. I want one that did work. So then on the other side, a lot of them did so much work that they got turned into lots of little pieces, and then when they get put back together, they're, updated and changed. I mean, they get changed all along the way, right? Like, you're in wartime. If something happens, you are not going to worry about getting like a Concours accurate piece to fix your vehicle. Like, this Jeep is not 100% original to 1942, but it's a good mix. It looks like it did some work. It's not too nice, but it's pretty nice. Okay, now I'm turning it back over to you.
Well, okay, it's a historical artifact, right? It's not 100% correct as the assembly line produced them, but you'll never find a Jeep like that, because even during the war, they were rebuilding Jeeps, and so they would intermix all the crazy parts. Earlier, Elana talked about this being a Ford, and Henry Ford put like his initial on every component of it as a way. The very early Jeeps, and this might be too nerdy for people, but the very early Jeeps actually said Willys or Ford on the back panel, and the government said you can't put your name on it anymore, and so they took the name off, but Ford put the initials on everything. The reason I ran a wanted ad, and a guy called me that had this Jeep, and I went and looked at it, and he's an older Vietnam vet guy. Hi, Miles, if you're watching.
Hi, Miles.
And the reason I got this Jeep from Miles is because my brother was also in Vietnam. He actually left a leg there. And Miles said, you're a brother. I'm going to give you a good deal on this Jeep, but I want you to have it because you're not going to sell it, and, that kind of thing. So I wound up buying it. It's a nicer Jeep than I thought I would get, honestly. It lived most of its life in France. It was in the invasion. The word of mouth story on this Jeep is that it was General McAuliffe's Jeep in Bastogne. I have no way of proving that, but it was owned by a Frenchman in about 55, and he owned it until the 90s, and he sold it to the guy I got it from. And so, how word of mouth goes, it could change historically, but there's probably no way to trace that, but nonetheless, it's a cool thought. I think we should walk around and show some of the features of this Jeep.
All right, let's start at the front. I stepped in a hole.
It got brought back here after the 60th D-Day celebration over there. They shipped it back. Got blackout lights for convoy driving, I suppose. So if we get more Jeeps, we can go on a convoy. The hood opens. it's basically all stock. You know, 6-volt charging system, 6-volt battery, oil bath air cleaner. It has ignition point still, all the good stuff. We just drove it actually probably 30 miles to get here, so it is reliable. Yeah, well, oh, the headlights are pretty cool. Actually, let me show this one. I don't know if anybody, a lot of people probably don't know this, but these Jeeps, you can actually loosen up the headlight mounting, because I'll try not to do it so sloppily here. And then you can actually turn the headlights around. Not that you'd have to work on this being a Ford, but if you did break down at night, you could have the headlight pointed at the engine.
That's actually pretty slick.
I heard the Willys Jeeps didn't actually have this feature. It was only the Fords because of the reliability issues with the Ford. Oh, is that a dig on the Ford people or what?
Your dad would be mad. So, Tom's dad, who was a World War II veteran, had always told him that the Fords were faster.
Yeah, he was a big Ford guy, and he's like, the Ford Jeeps were better. I actually brought an artifact from his time in the Pacific. He was not, my dad was in the South Pacific, he was not in Europe. But this is his gun belt from then, and his war medals, which I guess everybody that was in the service got them. But it's pretty cool. And one thing that bothers me now is that when I was a little kid, he gave me all this stuff to play with, and I used to like swim in the pool with this. And I look back at it now like, gosh, what was I thinking about?
Well, if you'd been the kind of kid who knew that you should collect things, then you'd be a creep as an adult. So I think it's better this way. One thing that I think is sort of fun about any kind of, you know, again, working vehicle is that when you have proof that it did things, it's almost better than if it's too nice. And so you can kind of see that there's been some banging around on this hood, some repairs done. It didn't just sit around drinking coffee in France like I would like to be doing right now.
I think it also had a heater, so it's had lots of accessories that were in it that are gone now.
Yeah, these wheels are different, right?
Yeah, the wheels are later. It doesn't have the correct wheels, and the hubs are not the correct ones. But I'm going to remedy that as soon as I find that kind of stuff. I'm not a Jeep expert, but I do like watching YouTube videos, and there's a guy called Team G503. Shout out to Scott if you're watching this. I like your presentation a lot. And he restored a Willys Jeep on YouTube for everybody to see the process. But these data tags are pretty nice too, a lot of original ones.
Yeah.
And then, got my hand in the way of all that. Here's a cool photo. I don't know if you can see that. That is General McCullough briefing the troops on D-Day +1 before they parachuted into Normandy. What a cool artifact.
So let's talk about the controls and dash on a Jeep here. Let's climb in.
Well,
and we'll start over here at the left.
okay, I'm gonna do my best to explain this. I barely know how it all operates. This is the main blackout driving light on the fender. You can turn it on or off. These holes, by the way, are not stock. I think they had a defroster or something for the window. The headlight switch is multi-function. If you pull it all the way out, it does not turn the headlights on. You have to go with the side button and then come all the way out and then go in one. And that's the headlights. But this thing has blackout lights, which is on the grille, you can also activate.
Is that so that you didn't accidentally turn the headlights on when you were supposed to be like blacked out? Or
yeah, I think in a war situation, you don't want to light up the place and let everybody know where you're at. Choke for the carburetor. This is the ignition on switch. No key. Nobody, please don't come and steal my Jeep. There's no key. Throttle cable.
It's your own fault for making it run so good.
These are the dashboard lighting, which I have to say is just a suggestion. There's little slits in these things, little slits at the bottom that sort of light up the gauges. The gauges are not the correct ones. They're similar, but it's the best we could do on short notice. It does have a fire extinguisher in case it catches fire. I hope it still works. What else? It's a 3-speed manual.
Yeah, and so there's the There's the on button, the starter button, and that's a little rest for your foot while you're starting it.
Yep.
Gas, brake, and clutch are pretty normal. So 3-speed, and it's a dog leg, so that's reverse. And then, see if I can do it from the left. It's hard.
Easier with it running.
Yeah, so that's down is first, up is second, and back is third. And then we've got our low range.
Yeah, and the front axle.
And the front axle disconnect, right? Or reconnect, or four-wheel drive
if you
connect,
want,
whatever you want to call it. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive.
Two-wheel drive, yep. What else is there? Got little toolboxes in the back.
We got a little ammo boxes here. I mean, somebody set it up pretty nicely.
This is the filler spout for the gas can on the back. You know, these Jeeps all came shipped with a toolkit and some accessory items from the factory.
Well, a little back seat. Got two side boxes. I mean, it's kind of fun how. I mean, if you're familiar with contemporary Jeeps, you know, they have all these like little storage containers and kind of Easter eggs all over them, like a little tiny Jeep that looks like this one crawling up the window. And you can see where all of that started when you look at this.
These are rests for the windshield. If you fold it down, it'll rest on these guys. Camouflage netting. I don't normally put it on because it's hard to find the freaking thing when you park it. I think we should go for a drive around the block.
All right, I think so too. Let's look at the tools real quick before we do that. So we got a shovel here for digging yourself out of wherever you get it stuck, or I guess maybe a foxhole. There's an axe.
Yeah. Those are Pioneer tools, Elana.
I just imagine like all of these little details that we think are so cool, and then probably if you were actually a soldier in one of these, you'd just be like, I hate that shovel so much.
All right, well, let's...
Gas can, spare tire, and yeah, that's it. Should we drive it?
I think we should take it for a drive.
Okay.
We'll bring you guys back when we're in the seated position, ready to go.
Should we start this thing?
Let's try. Let's show how you actually do that. Do you know how to do it?
Let's find out.
This is, by the way, this is keyless. This is a very modern vehicle.
It's true.
Yeah, we don't have keys in this. All right, how do we start it?
Neutral. Ignition on. Starter button.
Parking brake.
Parking brake.
First
Dog
gear.
leg first.
All right, let's go for a drive. Everybody feels like they're in the Jeep the way how rough that is. Giving you guys an accurate sensation here. So what's your driving impression there?
You know, when we first got this, I was really worried about driving it. I thought it was going to be extremely difficult. Like, I don't know what I was picturing, like a big truck or something. But it's actually very modern feeling, I think. You know, other than the fact that you have to come to a complete stop for first, it just kind of goes on through its little gears and does its thing.
Of course, Elana drives this thing really fast, and it's very hard to hold the camera at this speed.
We are going 25 miles an hour.
Half the speed the vehicle's capable of.
More than half the top-rated speed for the roof, actually.
It's too bad the camera can't pick up the smell of this vehicle, because it smells like a museum.
Yeah, I was trying to describe what these like World War II vehicles smell like, and it's like a kind of like boaty smell, like a little bit mildewy, but in a good way, like a sort of sweet. It's like a sweet, waxy, oily smell. It's great. It smells so good.
I like the way it sounds too. You hear the mechanical fan and the four-cylinder engine. I don't know if I touched on this, but this is 54 horsepower, which apparently is all you need to win a war.
Well, if you have a whole lot of them.
Boy, it's really, really rough. Hard to hold that camera.
Just imagine if someone was shooting at you.
Oh yeah, feel fast. Man, I hope you guys are not getting sick from that footage. It's really hard to hold it.
Well, I mean, you know, we don't have to keep them with us the whole drive home. It's about 3 miles, so it's going to take, I don't know, 40 minutes. We'll bring you guys with us a little bit further here. Well, there's a, look at that. It's like an army depot or something over there. One funny thing about driving this Jeep is you get to see like modern traffic from this perspective. And, you know, I feel like we blend in, the camouflage paint and all. What's really funny is like some people are super stoked and they're really, really nice to you when you're in something like this. But then there are other people who like total degaff. Like once I was trying to make a left turn and it takes a little bit of time to get moving, and the person behind me was just like honking and not into it. They were not down with my Jeep. They don't even know what they owe this Jeep.
Oh, they were probably Germans. And here we are, stuck at a freaking traffic light. The gauges are all working. I guess I'll entertain everybody with that. Look at it, we got charge, we got oil pressure. Oh, we're going. Look at that.
This is full speed ahead, by the way. Top 45. 50. Almost. Okay, I don't like that.
That's pretty fast. I don't know if we need to go that fast.
That 50 is 10 miles an hour faster than we're rated for.
Yeah. Wow, I hope the microphone picks up the sound of this. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed our ride down the street in this old Jeep. 1942 Ford GPW. There you go. I guess we'll, until the next time, hope you enjoyed it.
We forgot to show you the most important thing. The best thing in the entire Jeep.
All right. And it's also a very adorable little horn button.